All right, this is my 1948 International I-4. I picked this thing up 5 months ago for $500. Motor was locked up. Front tires didn't hold air. They had a slow leak on both of them, and you'd have to air them up after about a week. But back tires held air, and it was pretty dent free. Now it did have a few holes drilled into the back fenders and the hood. For instance, this might not have been a hole. I'm pretty sure that was actually some sort of crack there that had been filled in with weld and not really ground down. But yeah, I remember having to put a bunch of Bondo right here to get that somewhat straight, and still not completely straight. Now, as I said, bought it 5 months ago. The thing was all destroyed. Motor was locked up. I got the motor free, drove it around a little bit, took it to the fair, did some tractor pulls with it, and I outpulled quite a few Farm All H's, and I outpulled my W4 on quite a few occasions as well. Now, this one is a pretty interesting W4, or not W4, pretty interesting I-4. For one, we can see that there is an auxiliary transmission sticking out over here. Now, I've never seen an auxiliary transmission like this put on, I guess, any tractor, but from archive footage, I haven't seen anything like this. But this is just a 2-speed little gearbox. I can't put in first gear for some reason. I was having trouble with that, but this is reverse, and then push it all the way forward is first gear, and then there's a middle, which is neutral. Now it has a little shaft in there with splines on it, so you can run a shaft to that and run accessories up front. Now it does come with these little mounts. Now I believe this thing used to have a snowblower on it, and this is where I mounted to. Now I don't have the snowblower that came with it, but I put some not clevises, but hooks in here. But yeah, as for the grill, it's pretty dent free. Like a lot of my W series and letter series tractors like this have just destroyed grills. Now I haven't done anything to this grill pulling dents out wise. There was a small dent right here that I kind of knocked out, but other than that, this is all just straight. I'm assuming because of the snowblower on front of it, nothing was really getting to it. I put a brand new magneto on it, put brand new cylinders, whole engine rebuild, new gaskets, sleeves, whatnot, new belts. And yeah, I'm gonna have to fix the generator since I don't believe it's producing any power. It's not charging the battery. This is the first tractor of mine that I've had that actually has the tall gas cap. Now I believe why they started using these was the previous style of gas cap, which was a lot shorter, was prone to building up pressure in your tank, and when you take it off, it'd shoot off. And then they redesigned it, and if you took your tractor back or your gas cap back, you can swap it out for one of these. So all my other tractors, they just have the old school short ones. But yeah. Now I did put a straight pipe on this, and I'm debating if I'm gonna keep it. I welded a little flapper on it in case I do. I have a couple choices of mufflers. Now this would look good, a nice glass pack, and it's already kind of painted black. I'd paint it again. And I have this old stainless steel one that I've been using just so it'd be quiet as I'm adjusting stuff on the tractor. But that one's off my WD6. That one is off my W4 before I bought a new muffler off it. Or bought a new muffler for it. As you can see, These are the back tires that came with the tractor. They're in pretty good shape. At least this one is. I mean, you have a little cracking going on between each thread or each piece of tread, but there's no cracks on the bead, and which is always a plus. This one right here is the bad tires. We can see there is cracks going all around the bead. You got big old cut marks here, and you have about 1.5 million plugs in it. One right there, there, just all over the place. Again, I will show you. Here is the serial number, 19771, which comes to 48, but I do have an interesting thing that I've never seen on any of these tractors before. But if we look down here, if I can move the camera down there, you should see it. It says something 48. Let me read it again. It says 119 of 48. Now, I've never seen a tractor like that. Normally, the casting codes, especially that one right there, every other series of these Wheatland tractors have had a letter replacing the in place of the number. It would never say the year of it. It'd be, for instance, 119-0, which O represents 1945. But this one is straightforward, 119 of 48. Now, if we look right here, this is what I'm talking about, 213 of R. Now, R represents 48, I believe. And, yeah, so that's, that kind of shows what you would expect there. Now, this back end housing right here says 915 of O, which doesn't match up because, as I said, O means 1945. So I'm wondering, you know, I can't imagine them splitting this and replacing that bottom end, but, you know, nothing's impossible. They might have done that in the past. I'm going to go and talk about this for a little bit more. Now, you may be asking, what powers this? Now, if I turn over here, we have this big ol' sprocket, chain-driven sprocket, and that came off the tractor right here. It sat on the tractor on this shaft. If I can spin the shaft at all. Oh, yeah. It would be on the shaft, and it'd have a chain running to the PTO. At the moment, I am building a sprocket for this rear PTO. I'll weld. That's why I have this piece on the PTO, is because I'm going to weld a sprocket onto this to run a chain from here to here so I can operate that. But yeah, so restoring this tractor was super straightforward. After I got done doing tractor pulls and whatnot, I parked it in the garage, took all the panels off, gas tank, hood, grill, radiator. Again, I did the engine rebuild on it, took off this whole steering assembly, seat, all bigger things. I left the transmission on. I was debating taking that off, and I was also thinking about taking those rear fenders off, but I didn't. I left those on, and I sanded everything down as best I could, painted everything. I went with Allis Chalmers Orange because it is a very close match. Yeah, Allis Chalmers Orange is kind of covered up, but I went with that because it's a super close match to Highway Department Orange. Now, these tractors came in, I believe, 3 different colors. IH red from the factory, and then you can pay for an additional fee. You can have it painted Highway Department. Ooh, is it Highway Department yellow? And then I can't remember I can't remember the certain name of yellow and orange. I can't remember if it's Highway Department Orange or Highway Department Yellow. I think it's Highway Department Orange. I'd have to look at it, but they either came in red, yellow, or orange. Now, this tractor was originally red. I'll put a picture in the video. It was originally red when purchased. Then it was painted yellow, I believe as protection, because the red paint has all worn off, and they decided to paint it yellow. And when they did that, they painted over the magneto, and they just did it for protection. They didn't care how it looked. They didn't add stickers. They painted over the gauges. They painted over everything. Was just one solid color pretty much. Rims and everything, all yellow. Now, took all that yellow off, took all the red off, got it down to bare metal, primed it, painted it. It's been curing like it is right now for the last, I don't know, month. But I've had to do some major things, or some pretty major things to it. I'm going to talk about the seat. The seat is just a universal seat. The previous one, actually, it can show you what kind of yellow it was. So you got some red underneath the yellow, but there's the yellow paint on that tractor, and it has a big old hole in it. And that hole was from me taking it off. It was so destroyed. You can see that they had brazed it over and tried to repair it so many times it just wasn't worth saving. So I purchased a bunch of these universal seats. I got some hanging up over there, and stuck them on. Now this one I believe was off of a John Deere. It had JD stamped on this bracket, and it was all green. So I'm assuming 30s John Deere's tractor seat. Some of the more major repairs I've done, this drawbar. Now this drawbar was all 1-inch steel. Actually, this is 2 pieces of it stacked on top of each other. So however thick that is, I'm pretty sure that's 2-inch piece of metal right there. So half of it's 1 inch, and it came from here all the way out here, and it looked like it came off a D9 dozer. It was super heavy duty and just not how it was supposed to look. And this isn't how it's supposed to look either, but it's a lot better than it was. Now, I've had to also repair these radius arms. They had a big old chunk of angle iron behind them, and at some point they had snapped both sides, and had to repair it with some angle iron and welded it all together. I spent hours cutting that angle iron off without really destroying that rod. And yeah, it was just a pain. But enough yakking. I guess I'll start this thing up. I'm not going to run it too long because there's a pretty decent oil leak that comes from this oil pressure gauge on the back, the fitting. So I'm going to have to figure that out before I start driving it around and using it for work. We got about the world's smallest sediment bowl. Now this is a Zenith sediment bowl, and not your typical IH sediment bowl that you find on farmalls or normal W4s. We got gas on. This is a little safety switch running to the push button, so your push button doesn't work unless the switch is on. Now you turn the switch on, turn the magneto on, make sure it's out of gear. Run it again. Don't want to run it too long. I don't want to get too much oil coming out of it. But yeah, here's my I-4. Next tractor I'm going to be doing probably my 1955 Moline UBUD, and that's going to be the first diesel tractor I've ever restored. So it's probably going to take a super long time. It's got a bunch of missing parts on it that or I'm doing a WD6. So either or, it's going to be a diesel tractor. Anyhow, I'll take this thing to the next parade, and we'll see how it goes.